Hi, my name is Bill Snyder. I am the founder of 12 Steps to Freedom Prison Ministry. And the purpose of this video, I wanted to explain to people what my purpose is, what I do, why I started the prison ministry, and how I got there. And I'm going to try to do that in a very short moment, hopefully, if this brain will allow me to do that. I quickly tell you a little bit about my past. I was conditioned all my life. And I know that to be a fact. I was conditioned all my life for this purpose, for today. And I found out what my purpose in life. Most of my life, I had no purpose. I had no direction. I didn't have Jesus in my life. And I have experience of prison, the prison system, the judicial system, and all that. From the age of 13 to 25, I dealt with all that. I ended up in you know prisons, institutions, and all that, all through that. And going through all that, you wonder where God is. Looking past, the things that we go through in our life, the hardships, the really bad stuff that's done to us through our childhood and stuff. You wonder where God was. I was told that God's a loving God and stuff, and my answer to that would be, if God was so loving, why did all this happen to me? Well, I did find it out now. And when I was 60 years old, I figured it out, and I figured out what my purpose is. My purpose is to carry the message of Jesus to the dark places and help inmates get an understanding of what happened to them in their life, and that they're, no matter how dark their past is, they have a purpose in this life. God can redeem them, and God will redeem them. In 2023, September, I turned my life and my will over to care of Jesus. And for me, it was really dramatic. I was at the end of my ropes. Yeah, I had no purpose. I had no meaning. I had depression. I had shame. I had guilt. I was addicted to opioids. I just had no drug and alcohol and gambling and all that stuff. And, I was ready to end my life, and I'd been planning that stuff. And I don't want to get into that. I don't want to sound dramatic, but I ended up turning my life and my will over to care of God. And like I said, it was dramatic for me, and it was emotional. It was, I cried a lot, and I felt it instantly. And from then on, I was not addicted to alcohol or opioids. It was an amazing, amazing transformation, and then I developed a purpose. And so I started praying every day after I did that, because I had God in my heart. It was just overwhelming. And so I asked Jesus for direction. Show me what you want to do with my life, Jesus. Just give me the direction, the wisdom, the knowledge, and the power to carry it out. And when you do that, and you know God's real, and you've got Him in your heart, you're going to get answers. It's not going to come in answers like a bullhorn, or big voices in your head or anything. It's going to come to you in desires, nudges, thoughts of what you're supposed to do. And it led me to signing up on the prison website as a volunteer, because I know all my past life. I have the experience, I have the knowledge of what that's like being locked up, and the reasons. I got a better understanding today of why all that happened to me. And again, it was God conditioned me for this moment in my life. And so I started going to Coastal State Prison, and you know, carrying the message of Jesus. It all happened really fast for me. I go in there, and next thing I know, I'm talking in front of a group of inmates and trying to give them hope. Um, and so I had to start printing out something. The thing about the prison, I going in there, it's the same inmates every time, so you can't say the same thing every time. So I developed, I just started printing out stuff. I already know over 90% of them have a drug or alcohol problem, that they had dramatic things happen in their past that created them for where they are, what they are today. I know that to be a fact. And so that made that easy for what I needed to talk to them about, and for lack of better terms, preach to them, and give them material. And so I started doing my own research, and I had experience with Alcoholics Anonymous for 10 years, working a program, working the steps, and working with other people that's trying to turn their life around. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to some really hard things happen to us in our past. and hard things to accept. So with that in mind, I created this workbook. It's called 12 Steps to Recovery, and it's an amazing thing that got created, and the inmates helped create that book with me. You know, it's from my knowledge, my past, my experiences, their experiences, and so I got that book created because I kept leaving them stuff every week to try to, motivate and give them a different way of looking at life and looking at God and, what it's like to walk with Jesus in your heart and to forgive for stuff that happened in our past and stuff. But I created this workbook. It's like I said, 12 Steps to Recovery, 12 Steps to Freedom Recovery Workbook. It's now on Amazon. I take it in there. I pass it out every week. It's approved through the chaplain service there at Coastal State Prison and the warden. And I teach at the RSAT. Um, it's just amazing. It's amazing to see an inmate work that workbook, um, and 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 see the light bulb turn on in their eyes. You can see it. You can see it in the way they talk, and they carry that light. And the light is Jesus, and that's what this workbook's going to lead them to, and does lead them to. And this workbook helps me. I mean, I teach it, so I study it, even though I wrote it. It's just an amazing thing, and to see an inmate turn their life over to Jesus and then carry the word in there is just, I get so much joy out of that. Yeah, in recovery, it says you got to give it away to keep it, and that's a fact. And what I get back is 10 times what I give. And it's amazing. It just drives me to do more. It drove me to create this ministry because I want this ministry to carry this message, the message of freedom. And the name of freedom is Jesus Christ. And when I'm gone from this earth, I want this thing to continue on for the inmates and to help people forever. I just want to reach to the ends of earth and carry the light of Jesus, and give people hope that no matter how dark our past is, what's happened to us or what we've did to other people, God can redeem us. Society, on the other hand, is a little different, and I do talk about that in my workbook, called "Climbing a Mountain After You Get Out." And so my project, one thing I want to be this program, I want it to be taught all across Georgia state prisons. There's 33 prisons. There's 49,000 inmates roughly, and between 13 and 16,000 inmates get released every month, or not every month, every year. And that's a lot of inmates getting put back in society. And the numbers, you know what the numbers of return rate are? I mean, I imagine most people's going to know it's high. It's 70%. And so they're going to get out here and they're going to create crimes again against society, and they're going to go back in there. And I want to stop that cycle. I want to give people hope. I want to change people's lives. Transitional housing, I talk about it in my workbook, is massively. Inmates need a place to go to decompress after they get out of prison. A lot of them don't want to. They don't. They're tired of being told what to do, when to eat, all that kind of stuff. And I know from experience because I grew up in that environment. And but they need that. And so that's part of my workbook program. But that's why I do what I do. That's why I started the prison ministry, just to carry the message of Jesus, carry the light in darkness. And it is very, I know not everybody can go into prisons. They don't like the slam doors behind them. I've heard so much stuff, and I respect that 100%. There is a lot of ways to carry the message of Jesus other than just going into prisons, the dark places, but someone's got to do that. And there's people that's been conditioned to do that, and I'm one of them. And I enjoy it. I get joy out of seeing someone light up with Jesus. And so I just want to create this video and tell you what my purpose is, what I do, and why I do it. And I hope I accomplish that with this. I do ask for prayers, to give this ministry strength, and to just, to that it's just spreads all over the place. And, I want to thank you for listening to this video, and God bless, and you have a great day and support my ministry. It's my website is 12stf.org. You can go in there and see what I'm doing. I'm getting better at posting stuff on there. I'm still new at this. All this happened to me within a short 8 months. And it's been fast and furious, and it's all because of God. And I take no credit for anything that's happening or that I'm doing. And I know it's God. And just God bless you. Thank you for watching my video and support my ministry. Have a great morning.